Good morning, welcome to week 9, Saturday morning. The activity this week has been sound. We now have sound. So sound has been a huge challenge, probably more so than I anticipated. The sound system is working really well, the sound service that I have driving everything. Am I particularly specifically convinced by the specific sound effects and the way they're working? I don't know. Let's jump in, have a look what it sounds like now. Actually getting a pretty good cross sample of all the various elements pretty quickly. So how this is working, snake here as well. Great. So the way this is working is most things in the world now have two sounds. They have a proximity sound and they have an activation sound. So where we saw that, probably the most obviously, was on either a portal or a zone like this, where we can hear the dull drone as we go closer and closer and further away, and then when we far out. Excuse me a moment. Aha. So there is a dull drone as we get closer and further away. So that is the zoned kind of proximity sound. And then when we jump in, we have this activation of a layered effect on top, indicating activation of that element. So I don't know if this is a sound direction, so to speak. It is the direction that I've taken. It seems kind of logical. The intention is that delivers the awareness piece by giving a proximity to elements having some sound, meaning that you have a spatial awareness in the world, pending the hearing of those proximity sounds. Upon activating the element, a secondary activation sound signifies very clearly to you where the activation point for that element is. So we can see this pattern further obeyed in portals, where portals work the same way, that there is some proximity sound, and then when you actually hit the portal, conveniently there's one right here. So as we get closer to the portal, goodness, aggressive. We get closer to the portal, there is that very obvious hummy portal-y sound, and then when we finally fall in, we get the bling, you've gone through a portal sound. Seems to work alright for most elements. Here's a void zone here. This is probably one of the effects that I'm the most happy with out of the lot. The audibility, the volume and the size of the detection increases as the void zone grows. So if we were to jam some bricks into the void zone to shrink it back down, we would hear that volume drop off, indicating the void zone is getting smaller and further away from us. So little elements like that should help you build a spatial picture of what you're coming up against. It's the most prevalent when coming across a couple of void zones, and maybe there's one above and one below, and you can really kind of spatially place them just based on their sound, which is great. The snakes follow this pattern too. There's a little alarm sound that starts playing when they're super close, but otherwise they just have that ticking movement sound. That's where it's at. I think it still needs a lot of tuning, but overall I have observed an improvement in feel having implemented all of that. So whilst I'm not over the moon with the results so far, it is definitely a step forward, and maybe it's just something that another 4 or 5 days of tuning will iron out. There's only one way to discover such a thing.